Senator Klobuchar.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you for the work that we've done together on the negotiation Medicare prices. We're so pleased. I was hearing you talk, Mr. Mitchell, about Eliquis, one of the drugs, as you know, that's now being negotiated of the 10 blockbusters with many more to come. I want to start, though, with one of the issues at a bill that still hasn't passed that Senator Grassley and I have been working on for a really long time, which I know he mentioned, pay for delay. And as you know, Mr. Mitchell, anti-competitive pay for delay settlements, where a branded pharma company pays off a generic or biosimilar company to delay the introduction of the competing drug product, is sadly a common practice. Our bill, it's called Preserve Access to Affordable Generics and Biosimilars Act, strikes a balance between targeting anti-competitive settlements while allowing pro-competitive patent settlements to proceed and saving an estimated $1.6 billion over 10 years. Mr. Mitchell, you mentioned the drug that you depend on, Revlimid, which that was caught up in a pay-for-delay settlement, as I understand. How did that affect the cost of the drug for you personally? How do pay-for-delay deals keep the cost of prescription drugs high for patients generally?
I took Revlimid for 5.5 years, and during the time I took the drug, both the underlying price, and my out-of-pocket rose dramatically. By the way, Revlimid was the second most expensive drug for Medicare until it began to have competition last year to treat only 39,000 patients, the second most expensive drug for Medicare at $5.4 billion. When the drug company that owns the patent decided to let competition come on the market, it limited the generics to a lower market share, 10% each for the first two competitors. If you have a limited market share as part of the deal, you will not lower your price because you cannot gain market share. What happens then is the brand drug company and the two generics, in the case of Revlimid, shared the monopoly and the price didn't come down. This is a pay-for-delay deal. This is making an arrangement to say we won't fight you in court. Instead, we'll give you a market share limited deal, and you will make a whole lot of money for a few years while we delay real competition.
Very, very good description. Thank you. Turning to another issue that has been discussed today, that's sham FDA petitions. Dr. Feldman, this practice risks delaying the approval of generic drugs and biosimilars, imposes unnecessary burdens on FDA resources to add to everything else when they have so much to do. Senator Grassley again and I introduced a bill, the Stop Stalling Act, to give the FTC enhanced authority to crack down on abuses of this process while allowing petitions submitted in good faith to raise legitimate health and safety concerns. CBO estimates that the bill would save taxpayers $400 million over 10 years. As you know, both of these bills have gone through this committee on a voice vote. Which types of entities filed the majority of citizen petitions challenging FDA approval of generic or biosimilars, Dr. Feldman?
Brand name drug companies.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and can you elaborate on the harms to patients and competition caused when pharma companies use a citizen petition process to delay entry of competing drugs? I just find it ironic indeed when it's a citizen petition process and the citizens are getting screwed by it, but continue on.
I have felt that same irony myself. So first of all, we should say that companies are doing this because every day of delay for some of these blockbuster drugs can be worth millions or tens of millions of dollars for the companies. So there's a strong incentive to do this. And basically what happens is the brand name firms will wait until the right moment to put a question to the FDA to request that they not approve a generic medication. And it slows things down. And every day that we slow things down is more revenue for the brand name manufacturers, but it's one less day that patients get access to generic drugs. And we know that generic drugs are the number one way to lower prices in this country. It is a way to bring down costs for patients. So I think it's a good bill. And as you said, these are not citizen petitions. They are put out there by the companies for economic gain.
Last, Professor Rai, the price of 25 brand name medications that Medicare spends the most on, some of which are negotiated, of course, right now or in negotiations, have on average tripled in price since they hit the market. You have written that Medicare price negotiations will promote the entry of new drugs by reducing the incentives for brand drug companies to engage in anti-competitive patent strategies that can allow for these price increases. So this is kind of where our Medicare negotiations, that is almost a outcome of all of this bad activity, sort of hits the road and combines with this patent problem. How will requiring drug companies to negotiate prices with Medicare, as I said, with more on the road, despite lawsuits going on right now all over the country to try to stop us, which seems unbelievable to me, given that Congress is the one that made the deal, and Congress can change a deal. How will requiring drug companies to negotiate prices with Medicare deter pharma companies from playing patent life cycle games to preserve high prices and facilitate entry of competitors and further reduce prices?
So I think the Inflation Reduction Act is one of the most important patent reforms of the 21st century. And the reason is this: it finally places a time limit, at least for Medicare, on how long you can extend an old drug, which means that you have to come up with new drugs, truly new drugs. And that is a game changer, it seems to me. Now, I wish it was only more than 10 drugs, and it is increasing, fortunately, but I think that's how it spurs innovation, and Dr. Feldman noted this as well, or Mr. Mitchell noted this point as well, that it spurs innovation to prevent patent abuse.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Thank you. And I'll turn it back to the chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Senator Klobuchar.